For as long as I can remember, traveling has always been a part of my life as I grew physically, mentally, and intellectually. From freshman to senior year, my most memorable trips were to Hawaii, France, Spain, Jamaica, Bermuda, Aruba, New Orleans, and California. But the trips I noticed a major growth in myself from going on were to Hawaii, France, Spain, and California. I grew intellectually when I went to Hawaii my freshman year because I learned so much history about Pearl Harbor that I will never forget. I was humbled by the experience and in awe of the tragedy that occurred. Traveling to France my sophomore year was the first time I had traveled anywhere without my parents. I had my friends with me, so I wasn't nervous, but it was still a big step for me, luckily one in the right direction. Because of this, I decided to travel with my friends again to Spain my junior year. Even though France and Spain were school trips, we were given so much freedom to explore, and by our teachers giving us that freedom, I gained more independence and comfort in my abilities. Although I was nervous to be the designated speaker since I knew the most Spanish, all of my friends relied on me, so I couldn't let them down. I had to order our food and communicate with the locals on behalf of the whole group, and I can now admit that this experience was very beneficial for me. California by far was one of the most eye-opening trips I've ever been on, and my mental and physical growth as a person was at an all-time high. I went on this trip very recently and will go more into depth later on the video. But for now, I gotta take it back 4 years to where my high school journey began. Before the first day of high school even started, I was already a varsity athlete. It allowed me to get out of my comfort zone, find my voice, and continue my passion of gymnastics and dance and another arts form. My new friends from cheer also helped me gain more confidence when it came to my singing. In chorus, there's a solo, and my teammates knew I could sing from our mini talent show at a cheer party. When auditions happened, one of them physically pushed me up to audition, and I sang right there on the spot, and by my surprise, I got the solo over all the other kids. This was a big responsibility and what was made me known in chorus instead of just another freshman.
The walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love.
Being in chorus, although I didn't know it at the time, was where I would meet two of my biggest friend influences, Lawrence and Kylie. At the time, we really didn't know each other at all, but fast forward 2 years and we were all the best of friends. Lawrence was the male soloist selected, so I was fortunate to sing with him in rehearsals and in the concert. I never told him this, but at the time I remember actually looking up to him and wished I had his confidence to sing in front of everyone. If he was nervous, no one could tell. He, on the other hand, was so incredibly nervous until a girl I've never talked to before came up to me before we went out and said, "You're so amazing, you're gonna kill it." That girl was Kylie, and those few words she said to me made all the nerves slowly disappear and turn into excitement. My sophomore year, I got into videography again and revamped my YouTube channel, Gabrielle and Isabella, starting as a way to share videos of my travels with my friends and family, to gaining from 100 to 1,000 subscribers. This became one of my new passions and inspired me to start modeling and acting again. With my newfound confidence, I proudly acted in plays, musicals, appeared on TV shows, and modeled for various companies, and to this day I continue to do so. My junior year was one of my best years of high school until the end. 5 of my best friends, Gabrielle, Lawrence, Kristen, Kylie, and Shannon, were all seniors, and because of this I grew up too quickly. The kind of people you surround yourself becomes the type of people you act like. For me, I felt and acted like a senior, so I got signed out to eat lunch with them, drove with my friends to school and walked in the building from the senior lot, went to senior prom, and even had senioritis towards the end of the year, but as a junior, so I wasn't in college yet for my grades not to matter as much. Life was great, but when the summer was coming to an end and my friends were leaving for college, I felt left behind because to me, I was ready for college and wasn't looking forward to my senior year because I had already done everything a senior did. As a whole, my senior year has been one of the best and worst years. Before this year, I had a golden childhood and had never really experienced pure sadness. I felt lost and wasn't sure why these things were happening to me and how to deal with them. I had thought I had experienced the worst pain of the year already by having my wisdom teeth removed, but the physical pain, although grueling, was nothing compared to the pain I felt when my grandpa died. My grandpa's death negatively affected me more than I could have ever imagined. He was one of my biggest academic supporters. Losing him was one of the hardest experiences of my entire life. Because of these occurrences so early on in the year, I was very close to being denied credit for my classes and had over 10 weeks left to attend them. Everything took a turn for the better when I focused all my energy on the amazing parts of my life, like my friends, family, car, hobbies, traveling, and just stopped stressing myself out so much so I could really enjoy my last few months in high school. I grew so much mentally and physically after the events of my senior year that I realized I had to do something major to mark overcoming my obstacles and not allowing them to control me anymore. So I booked a last-minute flight to California. I took the opportunity to travel across the country with no adults and just 2 of my friends. This served as a milestone in my life when I reached a true comfort with my independence from my parents, and it wasn't until this unique experience that I realized I was really ready to go to college and not a year prior like I originally thought. My mom and sister Gabrielle have been 2 of my biggest influences in my life. All our lives, my sister and I were treated like twins, so it's no surprise that we've always been close. Gabrielle has honestly been one of the greatest role models I could have asked for. She is hardworking, dedicated, and has one of the biggest hearts. When we were younger, Gabrielle and my mom motivated me in school by making a contest that whoever got the higher GPA every quarter would get $25 per report card. By Gabrielle always winning, it made me want to work even harder than I already was so I could beat her. It started off super close, losing by 1/10 of a point, but when I started putting in the extra hours, I began beating her by a whole point. For me, my future hopes and desires came more quickly than expected. During my freshman year, my whole family took a trip to Ithaca College, and from the moment I stepped on campus, I knew that's where my future would begin and where I was going to attend college. Fast forward 4 years later, and I'm eagerly waiting to start in the fall alongside my 2 best friends, Shannon and Gabrielle. In the future, as I continue on my journey, I hope to find an enjoyable profession, continue traveling with my best friends while finding new passions, and most importantly, find and spread happiness in everything that I do.